Now, just as a little bit of a precaution, this is not to give you medical advice. I'm not your medical healthcare professional, and I'm not giving you, you have to do that and leave your medication away and say goodbye to your doctor, because that would be dangerous. And I'm not supposed to do that, and you're not supposed to follow my lead. And let's keep it safe. Ozone is a very safe treatment, but we want to still follow recommendations and protocols that those people have learned and valued, and over 40 years of experience is something we shouldn't disregard. So you can try, like me in the beginning, everything on your own, but I found as soon as I started following protocol, it's a lot better. So we have a lot of participants coming on board. I will get started. It's 10 a.m. here in Australia, Brisbane. It's very warm. It's a rainy day today, but it's still about 27 degrees. Okay, so let me start sharing my screen, and I jump to my slideshow. And we'll hope Justin comes on board a little bit later. So you should see my screen now. And let me just turn off my formatting and bring it to a better size. Okay. Some basics, reasons to treat with ozone. Then we look at main effects of ozone, and then Project Ozone, which is a pet project. And we created a special Facebook group where we all can share our experiences, and I'll cover that in a moment, and then our special offer. So I'll talk about all the different areas like leaky gut in this program, and I will clarify infectious diseases, wound healing, and all of that so that you can see that. All right, my screen seems to have gone. All right, okay. When you look at a human body, you understand that it's about 75 to 80% water. And just that alone always puts that into perspective for me, into aquarium. Like you have a fish tank, and when that fish tank gets green and moldy, well, then you need to resolve that. You need to flush out all the bacteria, all the toxins, all the algae, everything, and clarify the water. And you do that normally with oxygen. As soon as you put into a fish tank a bubble stone and oxygen, and you filter the water, all of a sudden it clears up. Now, there is a huge movement towards ozone. There is Olympic pools around the world. I think Germany was the first country. All Olympic swimmers came to Germany. They tried it out there, and they realized no toxins in the water, no irritation to the eyes, no problems. And immediately around the world, all Olympic pools started to change. You have them in toddler pools, in swimming pools for children with sensitive skin. They use ozone, and we've installed the same system here in our own swimming pool. And it really is powerful to see that you can clean out all the different bugs and bacteria and everything from the water with ozone, and it works. We have very high temperatures, 37 degrees right now. It's midsummer, and it still copes really well with our pool. So it's also used by the same company as an effluent treatment. They use industrial waste, and they clean it out with ozone, and it destroys all the slush, all the oil, everything that's in the water. And it's actually dissolving oil. It's dissolving all the petrochemicals in the water, and you can see it's getting less over time, but it is clearing out in a very effective way. So if that works in a tank and in the fish tank, and the fish still live, well, then it's pretty obvious that we can use it as well. And the results, if you see the blood before and then you see afterwards, it's phenomenal. Now, looking at the main effects of ozone, one of the most fascinating parts is that with oxygen or ozone, you introduce energy to your cells and supply oxygen, which is needed to build a protective enzyme shield around every cell. So when they have plenty of oxygen, they can build superoxidase dismutase, reductase, glutathione peroxidase, which is the master antioxidant, and catalase. And they can defend against virus, bacteria, mold infestations and protect themselves. So if you lack oxygen, then your system weakens and the enzyme shield weakens, and that will then allow those pathogenic cells to dog on and to start replicating, growing and overgrowing into disease. And that's what we know from many diseases like Lyme's disease and cancer. There is an overgrowth of bacteria and virus because your cells aren't able to defend themselves anymore. And one of the reasons is oxygen, lack of oxygen, and the other one is lack of the right nutrients. The other factor is when you see the white blood cell, which you see here in the right image, as it chases a bacteria, and let me just turn on the video, as it chases that bacteria, it needs oxygen. It's like you running after a gangster, and it's like, I need more air. And that's exactly the same thing as those cells do. Instead of breathing, they take it from the red blood cells, which are at the right and left-hand side beside those cells. So as they touch along the red cells, they absorb the oxygen which they need for that oxidative burst. And that's why it's so important to have plenty of oxygen in your system and your red blood cells loaded with it. The problem is that when you look at normal red blood cells, they don't have the capacity to carry a lot of oxygen along the hemoglobin, the red color. And that is a severe issue. So by priming the body with ozone, you build super red blood cells which take on and release oxygen a lot faster. And there is better pliability, they become more flexible, which is very important for all the circulatory problems. It's a phenomenal tool in that concern. Now, the main effect that we all know is that it kills germs, fungus, mold, even antibiotic resistant bugs, which is a real treat because we're all resistant, whether through water or whether through the air, whatever we've been consuming. We've taken on so many antibacterial elements that everything becomes resistant, mutates and changes. We know we cannot do the same thing over and over again without our bugs becoming very clever and evade our attack. And that's what happens when you use ozone. It kills all sorts indiscriminative, which don't have that protective enzyme shield. And you'll learn that, which means ozone is killing selectively and not just the like everything, like colloidal silver. It only kills unhealthy cells and leaves healthy, intact cells completely alive. Now, working through this whole understanding of killing is not only important that it kills on contact, it's actually that process where you have a singlet oxygen that is attached to that O2 that is released, and that extra energy is responsible for killing. But because it disrupts the cell envelope of many pathogenic organisms, that's why it destroys only those which we don't want. And we've seen in many stool tests, after 4 weeks of using ozone, all the pathogenic bacteria have died off and virus, and the healthy ones are still in full flavor and actually thrive in a very beautiful way. Now, before we move into all the different stages, let me just go and look very short because I can't see when I show you my slides. Stop share. My questions, and I just wanted to see if there is anything. Please write them into the Q&A box and not into the chat. I see the Q&A, but the chat is disabled when I talk to you. Yes, I will be sharing the PowerPoint show after the meeting. It's on our recording page. I'm recording this webinar this time, so as soon as someone wants to watch it, I have the slides underneath as well, because I know I've written more than I speak about. But I've done that now 4 times and I've added some new slides. So I really want to share them with you specific for your diseases. All right. How about sinus infections? Coming on, we'll talk about them very soon. Okay. Now, as we go through that, I would like you to sign up to our Facebook group. On Facebook, we've created a group which is called Truly Heal with Ozone. So just type into the search box, Truly Heal with Ozone. And once you sign up, I'm working at the moment on leaky gut. I did a gut permeability test in the beginning. I did a stool test and, well, off the charts. So I'm working really systematically through this protocol now working with ozone. I do it like always, everything triple and double. I do 3 insufflations per day and ozone water 3 times. So I really want to expedite the process and see how it works. So I'll report about that live on that Facebook group. If other people have open wounds, they want to share how the healing process works, do it on that group. This is where we can share experience. I also invited a few doctors into the program who use ozone, and I hope they will participate and they will answer some of those questions. I think this is really one of those tools that we can use to communicate really well. And now let's move on and move into the subject of leaky gut. And I've studied that really deep. It's kind of fascinating when you understand. Now we have created a very individual and special funnel in this process, which separates our different diseases. The biggest problem that we always have is if I talk about ozone for leaky gut, for infertility, for cancer, you get confused. And that's why we separated every funnel individual for leaky gut, one for cancer, one for, which will be published tomorrow. Then we have one for wound healing. And then there will be one for infectious diseases, which is ready next week, Wednesday. So we have now all of the different diseases and the protocols which are recommended by the doctors and how they use it, all the research studies for this particular disease, all in one place. And that makes it a lot easier for you to follow through. All right. Now, leaky gut, as soon as you sign up, it's leakygut.ibs.crohn's.ulcerative colitis. So I'll share that link with you in a moment as soon as I see my chat box again. And then you can click on and sign up there if that's one of the problems that you have. To explain the system is pretty simple. We have one long tube. Starts in your mouth, goes all the way through into your butt. And on that long tube, a lot can happen. And most of it is to do with perforation of the gut, inflammation, infection, and all sorts of buildup that causes then a chemical reaction or bacterial reaction that drill holes through. And when you see inflammation, how it deteriorates cells, if you look at certain pesticides, fungicides, herbicides, heavy metals, how they delete and kill tight junctions. And tight junctions are those little connectors that connect all those cells together. Once they break, then undigested foods, undigested proteins, and most of all, bacteria and toxins from the stool can enter into the bloodstream. And once that happens, they spread with the blood through your whole body, and they can cause havoc in many areas. And a lot of people don't realize if they have eczema, if they have allergies, if they have food sensitivities, if they have chronic fatigue, depression, anxiety, all sorts of ADHD, all of that is related to leaky gut. So you don't treat the skin, you treat the gut. You don't treat exterior and the problems and put creams on, you actually treat the gut, and then all of those problems disappear. Chronic fatigue, for example, always related to gut permeability. So treating the gut makes everything disappear, and it's not an easy process. If you look, I started now the GAPS diet 3 times, and every single time I have a complete breakdown. My body can't handle that much fat. It just, probably because I have no gallbladder, but it's not possible. So breaking down those fats for me is not possible. So how do I heal the gut? Glutamine, yes, that works, and aloe vera and all of that. And I use Restore for Life, but it's always just good while I take it, but it doesn't resolve the problem. Now, ozone has proven track record. If you look at the results that ozone delivers, it's phenomenal. And we have here those tight junctions that break. Now, this is your colon cut section, and you can see here all those villi which extend the surface membrane. Now, what is the main purpose of your colon and your intestines? Absorption of nutrients. But because there is a whole lot of bacteria and waste product and rotten product going through, because you know the smell, and gas going through, that's all needs to stay outside. You don't want that to transcend into the bloodstream. Now, there is what we call the mucus associated lymphatic tissue. That's this membrane here which filters everything that shouldn't go into the bloodstream and keeps it out, but lets fluids, that's what the reabsorption of fluids is the colon for, and lets nutrients get into the body. And if that's broken, you have that drama. Now, there is a test which is very inexpensive and very easy. If you don't know if that's the problem. Now, most good doctors will recognize out of a stool test if you have gut permeability, but you can also use, it's a drink, it's lactulose and mannitol, and it's a sugar molecule that doesn't dissolve. So if you ingest that, and then 6 hours later, you test your urine. If it's in the urine, then you realize it's permeating through your membrane. And depending on the degree, you see leaky gut and increased pore size. So it actually really gives you a clarification on that factor. But as I said before, you can do the stool test as well. Now, I show you in a moment a few pictures, but when you see that those tight junctions, when they're broken and your gut is permeable, then there is very little that heals it. Juices and fibers and everything cleans it out, but it doesn't support the healing. That's where fats and fat from the broth would actually help. But not everybody can do that, and not everybody wants to do that. And that's where ozone is proven. And scroll down on the page of leaky gut, and you will see plenty of studies, research studies, and images that show before and after 4 weeks. It's really phenomenal. Now, when you look at leaky gut, it has sinus and mouth issues. So if you have sinusitis and you have repeatedly sinusitis, it's not because of your nose, it's because of your gut, directly linked. All mucus-associated lymphatic tissue is one system. So if your gut is inflamed, then all of that bacterial load will travel and will influence all others. And we know that. You eat bad over Christmas, and what do you get? Brain, depression, anxiety, ADHD, which is a reaction of the gut. It's sinus in the mouth, it's joint, it's adrenal fatigue, it's colon, constipation, diarrhea, Crohn's disease, irritable bowel disease. All of that is directly connected. Thyroid issues, Hashimoto, hypothyroidism, and skin, acne, eczema, psoriasis, all of that. So leaky gut is where you start the healing process. And that's where ozone has a proven track record and works fantastic. And if you do that, don't forget the other things. You know, like I always think people are so, one thing should do it all. Not really. You always need to reduce the stress. Add some healing herbs, get omega-3 oils, because we're all starving of them. Then a fiber-rich diet to clean out the colon. Avoid pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, because they delete those protein links, and protein links, tight junctions, you know, they are necessary. So on one side, you built them up with ozone. On the other side, if you still eat sprayed food, it kills them. So, you know, which one is more? And that's why I always say, not one thing is the whole solution for all. You need to build that in. And this map here is a real helpful guide to look at all the things that will help in creating a healing reaction on its own. And I have it here. I didn't know that I had the slides here, but it really is powerful. When you look, we have here the Clostridium difficile, the first one, which is a destroyed gut bacteria, a gut membrane through that bacteria. It eats off all the tight junctions. And the second one is ulcerative colitis, which I was diagnosed with. So it's completely destroyed. 4 weeks of rectal ozone, and then you do a biopsy and you get those images. Membranes intact, the mucous membrane fully activated, and you have a discharge in the beginning. You have a discharge of slime, you have a discharge of toxins. It's a transformation process, but do it as protocol, and you will find the protocol on those pages. Do it systematically, work your way through, and it gets better every time. And I know they always say, do it 5 days a week over 4 weeks. I do it 3 times a day over 5 days. And all I experience is more energy, more power, and a lot better results. Are there any questions to leaky gut before we move on to the next? Because then we move on to wound healing. And if there is something, I probably rather go through those questions before and then move on to the next, because then it makes it a lot easier. All right. Anonymous viewer asks, the screen keeps going black. Okay. Marcus, there is a static noise. Irene, your voice is clear now. You are sharing the PowerPoint? Yes, I do. How about sinus infections? I think I've mentioned that. There is sinus treatment. You blow up ozone into your nose and the protocol will be there. But start with the gut and start with your diet, and all of a sudden that problem will go away very, very fast. Can this help glaucoma? Yes, certainly it does. There's actually research for it, and I will find that out and send that to you. I'll store my questions. Thank you for the webinar. I'm new to Facebook page. Okay. I don't know Dr. Lahotnu's 10-path ozone therapy. You know, we've worked with a lot of doctors now, and all their protocols are very, very similar. It's a slow start with low quantity, low intensity, and then you work your way up. Then you have a break, and then you start again from the beginning. The main reason for that, as far as I understood, is that the body doesn't get used to it, number one. And then it's a sensitivity that is built up. Then it's immune modulation in the second phase, a stronger immune modulation in the next. And then we add the program with immune stimulation to really actively stimulate the immune system to catch the invader. So it's a build-up system. Now, when you do one too long, your body gets numb to it and it won't react. That's what I did in the first place. Strongest concentration all the time. Well, it didn't work. It didn't really help. It was actually causing counter effects. And then I started those protocols. Now, 6 protocols that we've looked at all have slight variations, slight distinctions, but they're almost the same. So what we looked, we put them all over the top of each other, and then we made one out of it. And that's what you will find, and the others, on our Leaky Gut page, which you can find here if you want to type in that long name. Let me just go and take this. Stop share. Go back here and type in to everybody. And again, I have the same problem. I can't share my link. You're all writing into the chat box. You should be writing into the Q&A box for me to answer the question. Oh God, there's so much in the chat box. Okay, I'll go through them as well. And I can't send my link, so you have to take this one on the screen. I don't know why this never works. Everyone is not in session. I don't know what that means. Everyone, all panelists. Okay, I send it to panelist Justin. And Justin, can you share it with everybody? It looks like my end doesn't allow me to share with everyone a link. Yes, it worked. Okay, now you should have that link. Now that's the Leaky Gut link, and that's where you can sign up to the protocol. You will get about 10 emails systematically leading you through the process, showing you different videos, showing you different research, so that it helps you to keep on track and pull through. Marcus, I thank you for the webinar, 10-path. Okay, share that on Facebook and then we can look that up. What about tinnitus? I don't know about tinnitus. It's very specialized. I know that leech treatment works for tinnitus. Maybe I haven't found, or haven't researched anything in that regard, but I will answer that by text, which means I will remember that question. Will I still have food allergies after I heal my gut? Okay, that's a very good question. I'm very curious about that one too. They say if you have cured your gut and you repaired your tight junctions and your sensitivity levels have come down, you will not have those reactions anymore, and you can slowly introduce those foods. I'm curious about that as well. I have a high almond reaction at the moment, a little bit of almond, and my body responds. So having it during the treatment, not in your program, leaving all the foods away that are responsible for food sensitivities is really key. But once your body has healed, you should be able to eat it again. Start slowly, observe everything, and don't overdo it. See, the main problem why we have sensitivities is because if we have a solution, we eat it all the time. At least I do. Then we have almond bread, almond cake, almond cookies, almond whatever. It's always there. And that will then build up to a sensitivity. So cut it down and then eat in moderation. We have now changed into a very European Mediterranean diet, very, very high amount of veggies and salads, good oils, good fats, and a little bit of meat. And that seems to be working. And if you put a little bit of almonds over the top, or you have a dessert, you know, now and then, that's probably fine. But don't go and do it like most people do and jump on board with overdoing everything. Answered life. Is it administered rectally or vaginally? Okay, both. Leaky gut is done, because males couldn't otherwise do it, for rectal only. Now, female can also do vaginal, but it's probably more so to repair hormone system, to, if you are menopause, it will help with vaginal dryness. It will reduce the fungus and bacteria load in the fallopian tube. It will help with hormones. You know, it's a phenomenal treatment, vaginal, but it has a different purpose. But on the other side, it's a mucous membrane, MALT, mucus-associated lymphatic tissue. So it helps with the absorption of oxygen in your system, and you can probably do both. And I know the concentration is identically the same as in rectal colon. So you can just do both, and or one after the other, and see how it works. Answered life. Do you take an enema 3 times a day before insufflation? I'm lazy. I do 1. I know I should. It's just time. It's too much to do. The ozone treatment I love doing, because I just go to the toilet once my bowel is empty. It's a matter of a few minutes, and I can straight away have that ozone. And the ozone treatment is really done. Just fill up the bag, close it, catheter, into the bathroom, and you insert it, and it's done. It's probably less than 2 or 3 minutes. So that's easy to do. Whereas boiling coffee, going up, laying half an hour down, I'm lazy. So I do at the moment only 1. Certainly there is plenty of research combining coffee enemas with your ozone treatment is the best of all. So if you can do that, if you are willing to do that, this is the best, the crown, as we call it. Okay, let's go back. Answered life. Could ozone help Crohn's with fistula? Yes, research. Go down on that leaky gut page. You will find all of those diseases. They actually did 10 different diagnoses, whether that's fistula, whether that's rectal, how do you call it? Don't remember all the names. Just check all those research studies. You will find they all respond in the same way, because it heals that mucous membrane and it kills off pathogenic bacteria. Even if you have a stool test and you have Helicobacter pylori, Klebsiella, all of those different bacteria, you drink ozone water 3 times a day, you will find that the gut normalizes. All those bacteria die off and the healthy bacteria flourish. So don't isolate and say this is one and this is the other. It's the whole gut that is repaired with oxygen. See, ozone is not just ozone. It's energized oxygen. It's a singlet oxygen, which is full of energy, which is released into the body. So you get the energy and you get the oxygen at the same time. And that's why it's so stimulating for your immune system. For sinus infections, consider that it may also be mold. Yes, in New Zealand, a lot of people live in houses with a lot of mold and fungi, and in their cellars, in their cupboards, and that influences our immune system. It occupies. So when you do the treatment with ozone, you can take ozone water, put it into a neti pot, and then flush through. Very effective, just as putting the gas in, and probably more convenient. So you can do all, and you can do both together, and it probably works even more. By doing ozone in the ear, can it heal? We're at leaky gut. Can it heal non-cancer tumors in the ear canal causing vertigo and deafness? I don't know. I would try it because it's not dangerous. It has no negative side effects. It has never shown any anti-reaction, so do it and then see and observe exactly. If you want to work with a doctor that inspects it, then do a 4-week treatment protocol. Just watch out that you don't hurt it when you insert the Q-tip, but certainly I would always do it. Oxygen, wound healing, blood circulation, killing off pathogens, killing off bacteria, and normalizing the DNA, the replication of cell, is always helpful. So try it out and report in the Facebook group. What about the taste of aluminum in your mouth? Have had amalgam filling for over 15 years. Okay, I know it's, I don't know what the question is. The taste of aluminum in your mouth. Look, ozone doesn't influence heavy metal detoxification. So I wouldn't think that there is a big influence. Tasting, when you drink it, tastes horrible. But you would need to do other treatments to detoxify heavy metals, especially amalgam mercury, which is really important. First of all, remove it, and then rather use PMF and good binders to detoxify heavy metals from your system. But ozone isn't really the thing to use in this case. I've noticed similar healing effects with PMF therapy combined. Oops, it's moved. Combining both therapies, it sounds like ozone is more effective therapy for leaky gut. Look, both of them energize your cells. Both of them increase oxygen uptake. Both of them give your immune cells that kick and boost to actually deal with disease. So it always has a huge effect on your system. And I would say, oh God, somehow I lost my screen. Just checking that I'm still back. Do you see me or any of the slides? Ah, you're seeing me. Okay, hello. Okay, I still go through those questions and then we move on because some people are interested for cancer and we need to get to that too. PMF in combination with ozone is the key. That's what they use a lot for prostate cancer, for example. PMF releases all the heavy metals, which you then collect with binders, which is absorbed through your drink. So it's activated through the kidneys, all the binders. And then you add PMF on top to ozone on top to kill the bacterial load, which is the main reason for prostate problems. So yes, combining those two treatments, the absorption rate of oxygen into the bloodstream with PMF is tripled. So always don't exclude one better than the other, or one. If you combine ozone, hypothermia, and PMF, you have what all clinics in Europe deliver. You know, they have local hypothermia on top, but pretty much that's it. So you can replicate that environment at home and keep treating every day until your system is so strong that it works. So I wouldn't exclude one over the other. They all have a slightly different variation. For example, hypothermia is very good for general detox because you sweat like crazy, whereas the plastic toxicity is really taken down through your system or intracellular broken down through ozone. And then you have PMF for heavy metal and energizing your system and strengthening bones. So all of them do a little bit of a different job. And if you combine that, you have a dream come true. Oh God, there is more and more questions. I might not go through all of them and then rather go through the rest and then do them all at the end so that everybody gets their share, okay? Healing effects, yes, wound healing is very strong with PMF. Will vaginal ozone help deal with precancerous lesions? Yes, that's what they do them for. And you know, if it's precancerous, it's a lot easier to deal with. I think you understood the concept. We're dealing with the systemic problem, not with just that one problem. And I'll cover that as soon as we go into cancer. We deal with the whole system. And as soon as we do, precancerous and all developments are stopped. And there is plenty of research as well. I can actually show you for cancer. They've taken cancer cells and they've just blown ozone air over the top, and it stopped growth, it stopped metastasis. You know, really wonderful to use. Okay, do you do enemas with ozone water? You can do, certainly. Just the problem is as soon as you warm it up to the temperature that your body would like, the ozone evaporates. So that's why it's usually used then in oils or used cold, you know, in ice water to drink. As soon as you warm it up to 37, there is no more ozone. And that's why they use the gas. And it's actually quite convenient and easy. Does it permeate all your cells once you have it go into your rectum? Does it also affect the whole body? It's a systemic treatment. Yes, you can have superficial, which is the gas that you put on the outside. Superficial when you blow it into your nose, when you blow it into your ear, when you put the ozone oil on. But it becomes systemic when you drink ozone water. The whole body responds, and it's systemic as rectal insufflation. Now, if you have a doctor that does ozone therapy nearby, you can do autohemotherapy. The major autohemotherapy will give you that extra boost. It's more effective and faster. So you would need to do 5 times rectal to have 3 times autohemotherapy. But it is a big effort to go to the doctor, to sit there. It's more expensive and it's a lot more time. And this way, like I said, 3 minutes, morning, midday, evening, and it's done. So it's a lot easier, but it's a systemic treatment. Any ideas of reducing Herxheimer? Okay, start slow. Follow the protocol. Don't jump and go in with full bang and like me. I had all sorts of reactions. Start with the protocol. Slowly increase volume and concentration, then you don't have any problems. So that's easy resolved if you go systematically with the protocol. Amalgam of over years. Okay, very good. So you still have it in your system. I had 15 years ago, all removed by a completely unconscious doctor. He pulled out everything and it was a drama. So don't do that. Just detoxify, keep detoxifying. It's an ongoing process. Look here, I have my ACZ Nano Zeolite spray on my desk, and I do, no, it's a new bottle. See, it's a new bottle. I just got it. I spray that 3 times in my mouth. Every single time I sit on my desk, and through that I bind toxins as they leave my body. So this becomes a broad webinar. What about PNF? Don't know, answer by text. We'll cover that separately. Edwin Kirkulis, when drinking ozone water, how long do you wait before and after a drink? Look, again, every water that you drink should be half an hour away from meal before and after, because you dilute your digestive fire, your stomach acid, your HCl, and that's never good for digestion. So always keep it away from meals, but it's not a lot. You just drink a glass full, so don't worry about that too much. Joel Hillman, what is PMF? Pulse electromagnetic fields that are pulsed into your system. When you go to the Truly Heal website, trulyheal.com, there is right up on top a box that says PMF expert training. And when you sign up for that, you get a whole training, what it is, how it works, and how it helps. It's a phenomenal treatment. It's actually one of my top favorites. And you will find also on YouTube plenty of videos from us about that. Okay, done. Is there an instance condition would more effective major autohemotherapy? Look, I would, thank you. Love you, Marcus. Maureen, I thank you for that compliment, made me smile. When you work with a doctor, there is always an advantage. Their experience and certainty, if they use ozone all the time, is a great advantage. Autohemotherapy is powerful. It has an advantage. It's also a lot more immune stimulating. If they combine it, for example, with ultraviolet light, and they kill off germs and bacteria at the same time and use the ozone to enrich, it's powerful. So I wouldn't discredit that. I would always use it. If I have a late stage cancer, I would go to a clinic and have major autohemotherapy because it doesn't harm. The only problem is those very big needles. For children, very not suitable. And secondary, for elderly people, very hard to find veins. And if you had a lot of vitamin C treatments, it also is a challenge. Then rather do like me, 3 times a day or 2 times a day, rectal insufflation 5 days a week, and follow the protocol. And it does work in a similar way. So I can't compare. Cuba study said it's the same effective, but my experience is not there. I couldn't tell you exactly from my point of view. The only thing which is different is the minor autohemotherapy. They take with a syringe only a small bit of blood, they mix that with ozone, and then they inject that back into your intramuscular, into a muscle. And there is a big bruise, and that activates the immune system. That is known very effective for Lyme's disease, for ALS, for all the bacterial diseases that really, where it's, or an autoimmune disease, where all the system needs to be activated, because that trigger point, similar to mistletoe, where that trigger point then starts to activate your immune system and keeps ongoing pushing and pushing and pushing. And they do that, I think, only once a week, but it's a very powerful treatment for autoimmune diseases as well. Is there an instance, okay, we have that. Maureen made me smile. Reducing Herxheimer reactions, we've already talked about that. What is the name of the product that you spray in your mouth? It is zeolite, ACZ Nano. It's a zeolite spray, nanoparticle zeolite spray. It's a very, it doesn't taste like anything, and you spray that into your mouth. It's a little pump spray, and that's it. And it's absorbed sublingual, like through the mucous membrane again. All the mucus-associated lymphatic tissue which absorb the things that you need, and zeolite is directly absorbed into the bloodstream. Now, if you keep doing this regularly over time, you will find that the toxic load, heavy metal load, is taken down really well. Answered live, will rectal ozone help heal celiac disease? Yes, that's exactly what it is, celiac disease. Well, there is more to it. You need the good nutrients, you need the replenishing, you need, if possible, IV in the beginning, all the minerals to build up the system. You have to reduce all the food sensitivities, but yes, it will certainly work. And there is research for that as well. Do you conclude that everyone has a leaky gut? I think I spoke with the company when I did my leaky gut test, and I said, from all the tests that you get, and that's people that would do, well, have a suspicion that they have leaky gut, they have a 99% success rate. So it's very high in that concern. I wouldn't know everybody. Not everybody has bloating and problems, and some people have a healthy gut. They have a healthy gut milieu. But as soon as you're in contact with one treatment of antibiotics, once being to the doctor and you had antibiotics, your gut membrane is destroyed. You have leaky gut. So it's something, medication. If you take medication, the side effect is leaky gut, gut permeability of many medications. So take it for granted. It's something that we all have. And if you have psoriasis, skin eczema, brain fog, all of that, you have leaky gut. So it's a pretty clear indicator. Go to the leaky gut page and look down all the diseases and symptoms and indications. And if some of them meet, you're there. Okay, great. I have some, and I was confused. Okay, thank you. With the ozone insufflation, do you need to supplement with probiotics? Yes. Now, vitamin C. That's one of the questions. Before we move on, a lot of people ask, vitamin C is an antioxidant, and ozone is an oxidative treatment. So you have one that works against each other. Does it influence each other? Is it dangerous to have them? Look, ozone works in your system within 2 or 3 minutes. So when you have a rectal insufflation, the reaction of ozone transforming into oxygen is in an instant. It's probably less than a minute. So, and then you have oxygen absorption into the bloodstream. So don't think that there is a delay. And that's why you can do vitamin C treatment always afterwards or before. If you leave, let's say, half an hour gap in between, there is no counterindication for that. All right, we've got it. Answered live. Hey, we've got through. Now let's go back, share screen. And I'm not looking at the chat box. I hope Justin is taking care of that. Justin, it would be so nice to have you on board and hearing you as well. But somehow You haven't found the right link. Maybe you're still coming. Okay. Now, we've done leaky gut. Let's go very short to wound healing. I've covered that in the last webinar. And there is on that wound healing page, which you find here under Truly Heal, www. I can change that. So it's easy. www.trulyheal.com, diabetic neuropathy. And we've got several pages. And that's where you find all the research, all the studies, and the whole process, how it works. I'll just cover it very short. Ozone is used with burnings. We have burn wounds, and you put them into the ozone bag, which is part of your treatment bag. So if you have that bag, and I hope you can see me still beside it, we have that bag, and that will give you the possibility to put your hand and arm in, connect your ozone equipment, and then have the high concentration gas directly onto the wound. Within a matter, look at this, this was a matter of 4 weeks. I didn't put the research here onto this slide. In a matter of 4 weeks, this wound was completely healed up. It's used for radiation burns. It's used for diabetic gangrene. This was an infected wound that meant the hand had to be amputated, and they didn't need to amputate the hand because it was healed. And look at the time. It was protocol started 80 milligram. After 6 months, the wound was completely healed up. Now, from amputation to a 6-month healing, and only after 4 weeks, it looked like that, and it was skin building and everything. This is a phenomenal transformation. You also see here pressure ulcers, and a lot of us have that. You know, when the heels crack, you put your foot into the bag, you do the bag treatment, you seal the wound with ozone oil, or you wash it out first with ozone water and then seal it off afterwards with ozone oil. And within a matter of days, you heal those. Look at this diabetic gangrene on the foot. It was open, and then within, 35 days, the foot was completely healed. Now, you all know that when you have diabetic neuropathy, wounds don't close. They don't heal, no matter what you do, because your fine capillaries are blocked. The blood pliability, which we talked about in this first slide up here, you know, where it influences your blood and makes it more pliable and increases the blood flow, was actually then helping with the healing process. So the systemic treatment, rectal, and the oil and the bagging and the wash has transformed that and made it possible. So it's not one treatment alone, it's more. All right? Now, do we have any questions to wound healing? I haven't. What is the Facebook page you told us about to join? Okay, let me just go back. Just type in healing, truly heal with ozone. You can write it separate, or you can write it in one word, truly heal with ozone, and then join the group. Can you use ozone bagging with hyperbaric treatments as well for burns and gangrene? Hyperbaric oxygen is always great. Don't worry about that. You see, hyperbaric does miss that extra singlet oxygen molecule that gives you that extra boost. So it is not quite as effective in killing off pathogens and helping with tissue repair and stimulating your immune system, but it still works in the same way. So if you have the possibility to do hyperbaric oxygen, well, they're great, and they're very, very important for burns and gangrene as well. So it's just coming from the outside. Okay, let's move on to my favorite subject, which I just finished today. Where's my slide? It's disappeared. Here. Okay, I'm still sharing slides. Are you still with me? Let me just look at my chat box. Are you still hearing and seeing everything okay? How about arthritis? Arthitus. Arthitus, I'm not familiar. I think you meant arthritis. Okay, Bunny, Dave, all perfect. Thank you. You know, it's funny. If you don't have a direct partner to get feedback from, it really feels sometimes strange. You're talking to my monitor, and some people would think I'm a bit off track. All right. Now, there are two different directions. And really, this is an important part, that once we get that, we understand that healing disease is always a different approach. Cancer, for example, is the enemy. That's one point of view that many people have. And you probably get hundreds of newsletters every day which says, you know, use dandelion tea, use Essiac tea, this heals cancer, these 5 cures stop your cancer, help stop. You know, all of this is targeted towards the cancer. Most of them have in vitro, which means in a petri dish, some evidence. But in vivo, none of those remedies, and believe me, I've researched them now for 10 years, has big effects. You can eat tons of that stuff and it won't reverse your cancer. So don't believe all that marketing. Cancer is not the enemy, and you don't need to shoot it with all possible weapons of mass destruction. Look, if they can't kill it with chemo, and really this is the most toxic, then why do you think you can do so with dandelion tea? It is the wrong concept. What is your success rate? Do you have proof that your gun kills? Look, the evidence stares us in the face. We're shooting at the wrong target because we don't remove the problem. We don't remove the cause. Whereas if you look at cancer as a sign, you know, this alien holding up the stop flag, as something is out of balance, which needs to be fixed, then you're on the right track. And that's what we see. As soon as you look at functional medicine doctors that really look at all factors, their results are astronomical compared to those who just sell you cures. I have been to clinics where they have IV rooms full with hundreds of patients, you know, chair on chair on chair, and they give vitamin C and glutathione and artemisinin and blood transfusion and ozone, and they do all of that, but they don't care about any of the rest, and that's will never work. And the principle is pretty simple. Cancer cells live in an inflamed body really well. Healthy cells die or get cancerous. Healthy cells die with toxins or turn into cancer cells, where cancer cells thrive. Anaerobic condition, lack of oxygen. You know, if your cell doesn't get enough oxygen, can't build ATP, can't build the enzymes to protect itself, it slowly turns anaerobic, it slowly turns into a fermentative state, which is a cancer cell. So if we don't have enough oxygen, we create cancer cells. If we have not enough nutrients, then all of a sudden your cells stop eating nutrients and vitamins and minerals and everything. Then they start absorbing glucose, and they can suck that from the blood. And that's what you then have, cancer cells. And then stress. Stress feeds cancer. If you have a patient that does really, really well, and then you enter and they enter a stressful phase. Husband leaves, wife leaves, financial stress, stress goes up, cancer explodes in growth. So we need to look at all of those factors, not as a treatment remedy, but as changing the milieu. And as soon as we do, we change the milieu under the tree. You know, Tony Berry, a good friend of mine who made the movie One Cure for Cancer with Black Salve, he was treating melanoma himself on his foot. And in the end, he had to amputate both feet because he couldn't catch it. It's like pulling mushroom. You pull one out and 10 grow. So how do you change that? You aerate the air. You, instead of, you know, it's usually very acidic ground where mushrooms grow. So you aerate, you nutrify, you cut out a few branches so that the sunlight goes there. And as soon as you change that milieu, mushrooms stop growing. And that's the same. Ozone doesn't kill cancer, but it changes the environment and the milieu of the body, makes it hostile to disease. And we know that if it defends your cells from pathogens and bacteria and fungi, already that alone will give you 10 times better quality of life. And I think I've seen Bunny's on the call, so I'm really excited. Bunny is a coach in Canada. I think you're now in Texas. Just write me in the chat box if you want people to contact you. But Bunny went through the whole coaching program that we offer, and you learn not to look at the disease, but at all those different factors. You know, how to find what triggers the disease. And once you've gone through that training, you realize that there is so many contributing causes. Once you resolve them, they are gone. And look at this map. This is the same flower power map, but I've dealt with all the circles with areas that are not highly influenced with ozone. And I'm always getting angry when you hear people talk about ozone has no evidence of destroying cancer cells. Well, maybe, but it oxygenates your body. It regulates your hormones. It is used as a targeted cancer treatment. Like in Switzerland and Germany, they inject ozone directly around the tumor and into the tumor to kill off tumor cells. It is used to kill off infections, the strongest remedy against infections in the world. So if that is already resolved, you have 4 causes gone. Then lifestyle, well, you need to change that yourself. pH balance depends on what you eat, so you need to do that. Then you have deficiencies, depends on what the food you eat and how your gut works and how your bacteria break it down. So that needs to be resolved, but it heals your inflammation and it heals your gut. So by healing the gut, you already change your absorption rate and you probably influence your diet in order to heal the gut. So there is a little bit of a cross effect, and it breaks down plastic toxicity, which is another great benefit. And all of these are contributing to cancer or to any other disease. So if you can remove with one treatment, 1, 2, 3, and dental, we forgot that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 causes. Well, why would you not do it? It's similar to PMF. It deals on so many levels that you don't have it as a targeted cancer treatment, but it influences so many of those areas that can trigger the disease that it's worthwhile doing. And that's what you see, for example, with prostate. You can see here the bladder empties out through the urinary tract, through the prostate, into the urinary tract, and then out. And there is the seminal string coming in as well. So in that prostate is all the bacteria that is not filtered out through your urine. And then there is also the bacterial load, which is in the male, thankfully quite long, but still there is bacterial influence coming up. And that builds up here. And that's what we know, long-term bacteria as one of the main triggers for prostate. And then we have heavy metal poisoning. All your heavy metals are flushed out through the kidneys into your bladder, and then they accumulate down here, especially if there is an inflammation, and then it's blocked as before it goes out. So the prostate is actually like an accumulation place where inflammation can start, toxicity, bacteria load, and then toxicity buildup. And that's why it's influenced. So as soon as you use rectal insufflation, then all of a sudden you have an extreme effect because it's directly beside it. So there is a transcendence through the bloodstream, and then secondary as a systemic treatment. Now, if you sit on a PEMF cushion, you know, pulse electromagnetic field cushion at the same time, and you pulse into your prostate, that magnetic pulse that discharges your heavy metals, and then you use at the same time your zeolite spray and probably 20 other binders that bind those heavy metals so that they can be flushed out, you're on a winning track. It's a very logical and simple system, plus all your lymphatic system, which cleans out through ozone as well, plus you build up your immune system and you oxygenate the area. It's a fantastic combination treatment that really works. Now they add in Germany local hypothermia to really heat up that area, which builds more white blood cells, brings in more blood circulation, activates the immune system. So combining those is really helpful, but you have 2 parts of the treatment that you can do at home. And as I always say, you spend a whole lot of money going into a clinic, and then you come home, and what do you do then? You still need to continue. And that's why we really support that home treatment part where you keep going, and then you go to the doctor for the things that they need to do, like IV treatments and balancing out your nutritional status, helping with acute inflammation where they can do a bit more with curcumin infusions. You know, they can help a lot, but if you build already a healthy basis, wow, you're home and host, and that's what we want. Now, we talked about before vaginal treatments. Again, this is a very, very big concept when you understand that you have mucous membrane, that layer that is in your colon, also in your vagina. And once you clean that out, you know, you see here the uterus and then the fallopian tubes, which connect to the egg stems. Now, if that's infected and there is bacteria growth in those fallopian tubes, then that is constantly affecting your immune system. It's like an inflammatory process that your body has to deal with all the time. And that is washed out. You can wash out the fallopian tubes. I don't know if you can do that. I would definitely go to a clinic. Cuba, Dr. Emilia does a wonderful job. She does infertility treatments with ozone since many, many years with over 50 babies, where she cleans out with ozone wash and ozone gas. They use gauze, not tampons, because they're toxic. They use a special gauze, organic gauze. They dip that into ozone oil, highly concentrated ozone oil, and insert that into the vagina overnight. So it starts to build up that ozone gas, and overnight then really kills off the bacteria and germ, heals the mucous membrane, and supplies that whole area with oxygen, which is then healing and activates your immune system. So it's a beautiful concept that you can do. And it's also used for any STDs. If you had any sexually transmitted diseases, or STIs, I think they're called now, you can deal with them very perfectly with ozone oil, ozone water, and ozone insufflations. And you use the same concentration as you would use for rectal. You build up, as you can see in the protocol on our protocol page. Don't just blow in high concentration. They become toxic. You need to build up systematically and follow 40 years of experience to make it safe. You can also, for rectal cancer, for colon cancer, as you've seen in the image before, really helpful and valuable. Like I have here one. This is actually a colon cancer. And then you see the big outgrowth, and then it reduces, and after 4 months you have scar tissue left. Now, rectal ozone plus diet and stress and pH, and you need to do the other parts as well. So you can't expect ozone to do the whole thing. But if you combine it, look at those results. And this is phenomenal in my opinion, and everybody can do it. It's not dangerous, it has no side effects, and it really just gives you that extra kick and that extra boost that we all want. Now, do we have questions to cancer? Any form of cancer and what you can do? Please write them not into the chat box. Open the Q&A and write into the Q&A box, because I will go through the chat in the end, but only into the Q&A I can answer now. How about arthritis? Did you mean arthritis? Well, it's often to do with bacteria and infectious build-up in your joints, which they do with prolotherapy. They blow ozone directly. They inject ozone directly into your joints, along the spine, into the knee joints, into your ankles, which you need to do with a doctor. I wouldn't do that at home. Certainly not advisable. And secondary, you can do the systemic treatment, which will have an influence on that as well. And in my case, I have very severe arthritis. A little while ago, November, when I started my water fast and my whole treatment package, because I was actually developing arthritis pain, and it was due to inflammation in my gut. I stopped the inflammation. I started my ozone insufflations, and it stopped literally overnight. After my first 3 treatments, it was gone. So you might want to consider looking at the gut first before you do the prolotherapy, and it always works. It jumps. Marcus, with ozone insufflation treatment, Davi Moleka. Marcus, with ozone insufflation treatment, do we need to supplement pre and probiotics? Always good. Yes, for leaky gut. I take mine. I always forget to say that. Probiotics and prebiotics are very helpful to recolonize the gut with healthy bacteria. But there is one problem. A lot of people just do that. And if you just do that, then those new bacteria come into the colon, into a milieu, into an environment, which is not right for them. So they die off straight away. And your old bacteria are still resistant. They have a gut resistancy, and they don't change very easily. They defend themselves. They build up a real fighting mechanism, which then causes brain fog, causes all sorts of problems. So you need to change the milieu of the gut at the same time as you use those probiotics. I actually love a lot more fermented foods, fermented water, fermented juices, because they really have that general effect. But certainly, never forget, probiotics and prebiotics need to be part of your treatment program. Answered live. Okay, Carrot. What are some results of ozone use with eye diseases such as glaucoma? I don't know. I know that in the clinic they use ozone water, and then they have that little cup that they put over the eyes, and you blink into ozone water for infections and infectious diseases. It seems to be extremely powerful. I haven't done it, and I haven't done any research on it, but you will probably find something on that. But ozone water can be used for all mucous membranes, and around your eyes it's probably the same, and to kill off bacteria, infections, infectious diseases. So in the eye itself, I wouldn't know. I will search for that. Let me just say that I note that. Okay, I've noted, so I will look into that. Can you use ozonated oil vaginal and rectally? I haven't done it rectally. Don't know. It sounds unpleasant. And you probably can. They do castor oil enemas at the Gerson therapy, so you might use it. I don't know. If you need to warm it up, it loses power. And that's why ozone oil should always be kept refrigerated or cool, and you use it topically. Ozone water, as soon as you want to store it, you need to store it cool. Otherwise, it loses property, the healing property. So I wouldn't think that it's possible to use it rectally as a solution. I wouldn't know how to do that. Or you want to do it cold. Might be causing cramping. Can ozone insufflation up the penis break up scar tissue? Okay. I won't recommend you to do that. And if I look at the catheter, which I have here, I wouldn't want to insert that. It's round and soft at the tip, and it's quite flexible, but that could be, I hope you see it here, but this could be a big thing. Do that with a doctor. Talk with a doctor. There are beautiful doctors, like if you look at Dr. Robert Rowan and Schallenberger, and there is many more that use ozone since many years. Speak with them and look into those treatments. Privately at home, I wouldn't do it. Okay. Yes. Look, that's a question. I read it again. I would talk with a very qualified practitioner that does ozone treatments, and if they're willing to do that. I know in Germany they use a catheter of that size, and they insert that through the penis into the prostate, and then it has a little tip that warms up with heat. So they use local hypothermia, but that's a very medical treatment, which I can't help you recommending in our program because that's far outside my league. What concentration ozone do you recommend? Sign up for the program on the rectal page, on the leaky gut page, and you will find the whole protocol, all the research studies, all the flow rate, everything explained there. I really want you to go through systematically, not just try. As you sign up, you get a lot of emails that show you the protocols and that help you to do it wisely. Let's go back to the wound healing leaky gut page. And here I take that link again and stop share. My chat box comes back up. Everybody, can I write? No, I need to first send it to panelists and then to everyone. And then it works. Now you have in the chat box the link that takes you there. Sign up on that page, and then you get the whole protocol and everything that is necessary to know the different dosages and concentration. Hydrogen peroxide and ozone do the same thing in the body in a similar way, not quite the same. See, that singlet oxygen is pure energy. So as soon as you insert that into the body, which you don't get from hydrogen peroxide, but hydrogen peroxide transforming into oxygen does the same. So it's a similar treatment, but not as effective and not as targeted as ozone. I thought you couldn't breathe in ozone. No, you don't breathe in, Jennifer. No. See, this is why we add this destruct unit to it. The destruct unit, as soon as you have excess ozone, it goes into the destruct unit, for example, with bagging, when you do a bag treatment, and then it breaks down the ozone and turns it back into oxygen. So don't do that. Lateef, brain cancer, it will help. How? Any thoughts on this? Brain cancer. Okay. Brain cancer is always tricky because of the blood-brain barrier, which is a tight junction membrane. It's the same. It's a membrane that protects your blood, your brain from toxins that are in the blood. I know that ozone is used. It's not as effective. Brain tumor responds really well for local hypothermia, which they offer in Germany. It has a systemic treatment. It helps with the detox and activation of immune system, but I couldn't give you a very clear result or any kind. I said in the beginning that when you look at ozone, it's not a treatment that targets cancer. It helps the body to heal. It stimulates the body to heal. It increases your chances to heal. So it's a very, very powerful treatment to help your body to heal, but it's not a targeted treatment. So I wouldn't know how that is. And I'll save your answer by text. I will ask around all the doctors whether they think there is a big advantage in using it, and we'll send you the answer directly. Just send me in the Q&A your email, and then I'll respond to that. Is ozone bagging good for breast cancer? Yes, they do that, especially if it's open. If there is broken open the wound, they do that. They put, you take the bag and you cut out, because it's ozone resistant. You can't take any plastic bag. See, this is very special material. Any plastic dissolves. If you go in front of ozone, it just disintegrates. So you don't want that. You don't want more toxicity enter your body. These bags are special ozone resistant plastic. So you cut out a square and then you tie that over and you tape that around. And then you have on one side the ozone inlet, on the other side the ozone outlet. And then you run the ozone stream over that wound, and that will heal and help disinfect. In Switzerland, I've actually seen it live. Dr. Rao was injecting directly into the tumor and around the tumor little ozone quaddles, as they call, bubbles, to help the immune system attack the tumor from the outside and to call that necrotic factor from the inside. But I wouldn't be able to do that yourself, number one. And whether there is American doctors, the legal procedure in America is very dangerous for you to do that or to have a doctor do that. So you would need to find an alternative, probably either in Europe, where they're very open to ozone treatment in general. All right, let me share my screen again. We still have a few questions, but I'm getting worried that we don't get through. Is ozone bagging good for breast cancer? Yes. What about female recurrent urinary infections? Same thing. Yes, you can do that. You can treat urinary infections really well, but it's with a catheter into the bladder. My mother had 5 or 6 times a bladder wash with ozone water, and it's very effective because all her antibiotic resistant bugs that she had, they died off and she had immediate relief. Again, you need to change your diet, your drinks, no more sodas, no more alcohol, no more wine, reduce the sugar load to stop bacteria buildup. Otherwise, it will come back. But yes, you can deal with that really, really effectively. But again, this is probably a treatment I would do with a practitioner or with a doctor. Should someone with ozone therapy use ozone therapy while using blood root self to treat skin cancer? It's like black self on the back or upper leg. Use it as a systemic treatment to boost your immune system. I said before, pulling out mushrooms doesn't really help if you don't change the milieu. Now, see ozone as a change of milieu, change of environment. And then once it's pulled out, you probably have less growing after. So I would certainly combine it. It's not counterindicated with any cancer. It has no counterindication with any disease. It just activates your immune system and brings more oxygen into your system. What would you recommend for Barrett's, osteophagitis, oh God, difficulty swallowing, gurgling with ozone water? Good. It's a beautiful thing. They do that all the time. They use ozone water, high concentrated, take it in your mouth, slosh it around like oil sloshing, spit it out. Then gurgle with it and spit it out. Beautiful treatment. You can do that 5-6 times throughout the day, and you will realize infections and all of that will go away. Okay, answered live. When checking if there is cancer in the body, what sort of most comprehensive, most effective examination would recommend? Okay, let me take that into another forum. I'll say answer by text, because this is not really suitable now. We don't want to go into all the testing because this is a very vast subject. You can ask our coaches, contact Connie or Bunny, and you will see they are listed on the website, and they have all the tests. They know exactly what to do, where you can run through what you need to look out for. Really, really helpful. Or run through the coaching program yourself and learn what you can do, because that will give you a huge advantage. Okay, where have we been? Wound healing, done. We went through cancer, colon cancer, and now we just cover very short. Now this will be in 2 weeks. Wednesday, we'll release Lyme's disease and hepatitis C and HIV, because they are very well known to be treated with with ozone. So we'll have a complete separate page for them with the protocol and what else you need to do, because it's not just ozone. You need to do all the other things as well to have great success. Now, Lyme's disease we know is a bacterium. Bacteria are influenced and killed by ozone. So it's a very systematic approach. And we know that fatigue, headaches, rash, fever, sweats, all of those things are influenced straight away as soon as you have ozone treatments. Now, I would add for Lyme disease, always hypothermia, because the hypothermia produces more white blood cells. It helps to detoxify. Those bacteria produce a very heavy toxic load, a toxic burden. I always say they pee and poop. So you need to get rid of those toxins that those bacteria produce. And that's done with hypothermia in a very effective way, which takes a lot of the pains and the aches away. The ozone kills off the bacteria. And then you need to work on a systemic process to bring your system back to life. I was asking Dr. Emilia and all the doctors that we've interviewed about, and I'm never good with names, so I'll list them all. But what we've learned is you cannot just target the bacterium or Helicobacter pylori, which actually dies off with ozone water, but you cannot just target one specific thing, because if you don't change the milieu, they will always grow back. So changing the milieu, make it hostile to those bacterium, and they will diminish on their own. And that's what they said. If they take a Lyme patient on, it's an ongoing treatment, an ongoing boosting of the immune system and reducing the toxic load, increasing the nutritional levels, getting good oils into the system so that your system is so powerful to fend off the problem. And that's where ozone plays a vital role. Like Dr. Emilia has a lot of Lyme patients, but they come repeatedly to stay topped up, as we call it. You know, like you go for dinner when your body goes tired, you go for lunch and you go for breakfast. In the same way, your immune system needs that oxygen, needs that support ongoing to stay on top of the bacterium. To kill it off, you know, to put the whole body into an ozone bath and get rid of everything doesn't work, because the milieu is still the same. So changing the environment, changing that oxygenation level will then help your system to reduce the bacterial load. Plus, you always kill off a few when you do the treatment. So there's quite a lot of evidence that when you do the major autohemotherapy at the doctors at regular intervals and they combine it with UV light, then you have a stunning combination that really breaks down. And then combined with hypothermia and artemisinin or with mistletoe, you have that immune modulation that you need to kick in and really get rid of those diseases. Hepatitis C, a lot more effective. You know, it directly goes into the liver, and we know it's destroying the liver. Now, what do you think is the main, let me just show you here. You see from your colon and from your intestine, there is one very, very big hepatic portal, the portal tube. And that portal tube goes directly into your liver. So when you do ozone treatment and you have it rectal and it goes into the colon, it's absorbed instantly into the bloodstream. And from there, it goes into the liver. So the first kick, the first boost that your body gets is to the liver. And that's why it's used for liver cancer, for liver cirrhosis, for hepatitis C, where you have a bacterium destroying your liver, as the first means of defense. So it's a very powerful treatment. You can see here in this chart, again, on the page will be all the research and all the studies, and it will give you clarity. You know, when you start out, the count of hepatitis C very high. After 2 months of, they used autohemotherapy. Same study was published with rectal insufflation, and they had the same results 5 times a week. Now do 5 times a week, 2 times, just morning and evening, and you have faster results. And then you get your bacterial load down, and after 6 months, it was manageable. No side effects, liver was healing, all problems, all pain, everything was gone. So it's a very, very powerful treatment. And HIV, the same thing. It has, the AIDS virus responds to ozone directly, so it kills direct, but there is everywhere in the body. They sit in your muscles, they sit in all your lymphatic system, they establish in the brain, you know, like there is a whole body infestation. So you need to counteract with a systemic treatment. And that's why rectal insufflation, autohemotherapy, in this case for HIV, they use the minor autohemotherapy to stimulate your body really long-term with ozone, and it works. So there is great evidence, and there is lots of people that have been able to reverse. Again, it's not just one thing. I would always add hypothermia to it if you can afford it, or find a doctor close by and have PMF treatment. All of that helps together. It's like putting 3 super fighters, you know, 3 Navy SEALs, or, you know, whatever you want to associate with that, and they start to work for you and defend you. And that's why these combination treatments are really, really super effective. All right, I think I've done it. Yes, I went through the whole slide. Now, last time, questions. I will see there is a lot more. Can ozone treatment be used on animals? Yes, it's used. There is all research studies on animals, on mice, on rabbits, on dogs, and they have tremendous success. The FDA and the TGA prohibit the use and research on human beings. And that's why you only find German research papers. You know, this protocol is so effective and so cheap and doesn't require any chemicals, so they undermine it. They make it scary, and ozone is dangerous, and ozone is, no, it's not. You know, with the 0.00007% risk rate, 40 people out of 50 million, or 5.5 million people, there is no risk, there is no danger. So don't get hoaxed into that, oh, you need to be careful. Breathing it in high concentrations irritates your lungs in the first place. You cough and it doesn't smell nice. If it's getting worse, then you get inflammation in your lung. But you know, that's remedied with opening the window, and that's it. So don't be scared. Don't get coaxed into that myth of ozone being dangerous. It's a life-saving force that is natural, and because it's natural, it can't be patented. And if there is no patent possible, nobody will put in the money to develop that as a treatment, because they can't, you know, it's not theirs. Everybody can use it. So if I do all the research and I work through, and then everybody can sell my treatment, well, it's not really worthwhile doing. So that's why you will never find a lot coming up on ozone, yet it's very powerful. Okay, have I answered the question from Barbara? When checking if there is cancer in the body, that was already done. Can ozone eliminate? Yes, answered live. I got carried away. Jacqueline, ozone has a distinct smell. Does this affect the taste of water? Yes, it doesn't taste nice. You know, like I have my ozone water bottle every day. Now I have Vasica now, but I had already mine in the morning. And I don't like the taste. The aftertaste is really horrendous. My children, they really do all the treatments. They do everything. But when I bring my ozone bottle, they all gag and walk away. It's not a pleasant treatment. So I would be careful here. But it's helpful. So do it, you know, and down. I've had plastic lenses inserted during cataracts. Okay. Yes, don't use it without checking, you know, the manufacturer, whether that's destroyed by ozone. You know, systemic, you won't have a problem. If you use it rectal, if you use it, but to do eye wash and ozone water directly on your eyes, I would be careful. There is a membrane, there's the I don't know what you call it, over the top. So it might not affect, and systemic certainly won't have an influence. But I wouldn't do direct treatments on my eye or use ozone water directly on my eyes if that's the case. And again, talk to a professional that does it, and I will put, again, answer by text so that if I find someone who knows it, I can answer you back. Barbara, can ozone treatment be used on animals? I already answered that. Okay, you wanted that very, very clearly. You answered that question, asked that many times. May you be kind, talk about what are some things you noticed after first few treatments. Okay. Discharge of mucus. When you look at the mold, the mucus-associated membrane, it's mucus and it's completely destroyed. Tight junctions are destroyed. So there is a lot of intracellular fluid that is not held. Then this mucous membrane is used to absorb let me just, no, I leave that. No, I go back to the slide where we had the colon to show you. Now you can see it here. These are tight junctions. All the cell nuclei, they're all sitting side by side and they're working really well. Now here, that fluid goes through. And this is why bacteria and undigested proteins, undigested foods, all sorts of virus, everything can go from the stool into your body. Now, if that mucous membrane, the leaky gut, is not repaired and these tight junctions here are broken, then you have a lot of slime, a lot of mucus coming out in the beginning. After a while, that reduces and stops. Now, if you follow the protocol, which starts with low concentration, low quantity, and you follow systematically through, you realize that it opens up not in a vast shock reaction, but in a slow motion response. And then it heals slowly and you don't have that massive discharge. It's only if you're like me and doing it full on. Follow protocol and you won't have a big issue. If you had already and you see that there is mucus, that will stop. Also, bloating will stop. The bacteria rebelling will stop. The die-off of bacteria, all that will reduce. And if you continue systematically for 4 weeks, you see that everything changes and transforms. Miriam, Alexandra, what about enzyme deficiency? Okay, what can cause hemoglobin's rate condition? Technical question out of my pay grade. I will answer by text. I have no clue. But as I said, hemoglobin is the red blood cells. When you use ozone, new red blood cells, super red blood cells, as Dr. Schallenberger called them, are built and they are entering the bloodstream, which take on and release oxygen a lot faster. Whether they build that enzyme that you specifically want to know, I have no clue, but I will respond to that. I apologize if you have already answered this question. Are you going to cover infertility and hormone balancing in later webinars? Yes, I've actually requested. We didn't get time before Christmas. It was really busy. And then over Christmas and New Year, I will talk to Dr. Emilia and really want her to invite, because she has a whole slideshow on that, and to introduce her infertility program. I will send that out separately, advertise that. So if you are now on the program, I have your email. I will send out the notification about different things. We'll invite for the new year now different experts, and we talk about specific issues so that we can cover all of those. And infertility is certainly a very, very interesting subject that we want to cover. I haven't covered it this time, but again, it has to do with the fallopian tubes, with the infections. So they use vaginal wash and cleaning out with ozone gas, and they use the ozone oil overnight. Plus, they add all the nutrients and IV treatment supplements to make it work. So there is a whole lot to it, but it's definitely a great start. And you could start building up that mucous membrane with regular treatments so that when you then do the infusions and the other things that are really relevant and the hormone-induced treatments, then they have a straightaway effect. Okay, answered live. Jean Roger, can ozone help renal fatigue? Yeah. All of that. See, again, all of those diseases are a secondary disease based on infections, based on leaky gut, based on high inflammation, based on lack of oxygen. So when you resolve that, then those secondary diseases vanish altogether. That's what Charlotte Gerson said it really nice. She said, Marcus, you cannot heal selectively. Once the body heals, it heals. And I support that wholeheartedly. Once you understand the concept of healing, remove one cause and you feel better. Remove another cause and you have more energy. Remove infections and you go through the roof. So all of that helps to bring the body back to energy. And we don't target the nitty-gritty end result. It's a sign or a symptom of something else. So we look for the something else. Alexandra Jacob, my email, thank you very much. I will send you the reply. And can you use ozone if you have suprapubic tube catheter? Don't know. Again, answer by text. That's something I wouldn't be able to answer correctly without guessing and wild guesswork. Okay, we went through the slides, and now, as I promised you, we have the super special. Now, you all know we went up in price, and if you go into the shopping cart now, the price is $1,200 something on the cart, and this is the actual price that we need to charge because we started out with selling our ozone equipment, and for the very first ones who got it, there was just a few catheters and ozone bag and insufflation bags and syringes. And then we added the stop valve, and then we added the oil, and we added more different things to it, which really make this a very, very powerful tool. And you see on the sales page, it has like everything that you want in it. And we haven't changed the price. We left it all the time. So now doing a finer calculation, we came to the conclusion, we're not really making any money. We need to go up in price. Now, I stopped that before Christmas. And today, only today, and an hour after this webinar, you will have the chance to get the old price. And I want you to type in on checkout to get discount on that bundle. And that will give you the whole package, including the oil and the discount with express shipping. The only thing you need to decide, and let me just switch over, stop, industrial oxygen. So industrial means you can do welding oxygen. I always go to the shop and say, I would like to have for my fish tank, I'm breeding fish, oxygen, and then it's no problem. But you can get it anywhere, and they usually don't ask questions. That's industrial oxygen. If you do not have a prescription for medical oxygen, every naturopath, every doctor in this program can have it, can get it, they can buy it, no problem. But if you as a layperson, as a private person want to have oxygen, in some countries it's possible, like in Germany, you can get it, but in other countries not. So you need to decide whether you want that industrial connector or whether you want the medical connector. And you can see the medical clips over the bottle and connects. Now, if you have a prescription for medical oxygen tank, get the smallest bottle you can get. Really don't go haywire with a big bottle. The smallest they sell because it's lasting you for a year. and look whether you get an annual rental. So it's $90 here in Australia, or $80 for an annual rental of a big 20-liter bottle, and that lasts you for 10,000 treatments. So don't worry about that. But if you can, use medical oxygen. If you have a prescription, talk to your doctor and say you have breathing problems, you have concentration problems, you need medical oxygen. Maybe they prescribe it to you. If not, you can use, it's the same oxygen. They fill it from the same tank. Only this is an aluminum tank and this is a heavy steel tank because it's thrown around a lot more. And you can use industrial oxygen in the same way. And then you connect to your ozone generator, and it has on the top the table for concentrations, and you find the protocol in the program on how to do that. And then all the other videos, I've created so many videos, don't even remember which ones are obsolete and which ones are, so we're working through all of them. So you have up to date, full on which treatment, how is it done, how you apply it, how is the bagging done, how is the rectal insufflation done, in all details on those pages, on the protocol pages. So don't worry about that. It's very easy to do. All right. Do we have my slides? So if you're interested in getting that and you want to save the money, really do it right now. I'll just share once more my screen because I found the slide. So if you go to trulyheal.com products, it's in our normal shopping cart, O3 Super Bundle. Or when you go to those two landing pages that we have and you sign up there, you have the protocol there as well and the buy now button. It contains 3 insufflation bags. And those insufflation bags contain, you know, like 200 milliliter, 400 milliliter, so you can dose really well. They have a very nice lure lock connector, which you can use very easily to screw on the catheter. And that makes it very, very comfortable to use. Like I said, 3-minute treatment. You've got the bag, you've got the syringes, you've got a little bag in here with all the different clips and stop valves and security valves and the bubble stone to make your ozone water or ozone oil. It comes with a destruct unit, you know, everything you need. And it took us a long time to put that package together, but I didn't want to just do that. If you have an ozone device, you want to do the whole thing and you want to be able to treat every disease. And that's why it's all one package. And use the coupon code on checkout, and that gives you $1 discount right away, now during the webinar and up to 1 hour after. And then I turn the coupon code off, all right? Now, this is how to treat cancer. And you can see I'm working on that one again. Oh, this is a nice slide. German Society for Ozone, 1980, 644 ozone therapists, 300 and something thousand patients, 5 million treatments, 4 cases with side effects and 4 deaths. Now, they were very late stages. Now, there's 2 zeros missing. When you do the calculation, 5 million, no, 40 cases divided by 5 million, you get 0.0 and 507 risk. And that's phenomenal. Here you have the right figure. That's safer than any treatment in the world, any medical treatment in any case. All right, now let me just go very short to Truly Heal without this and into the shopping cart, and then I'll show you, because on checkout, when you go through, you're asked whether you want extra catheters, whether you want extra insufflation bags or treatment bags, but I'll show you here as well. You just go into the trulyheal.com shop, and then on the right-hand side, while filming, uploading, and streaming, my internet is slow. Now, on the right-hand side here, you go down and click on Ozone under categories, and then you see all equipment and everything to do with ozone. Again, it's very slow. It's loading. Okay, Ozone Super Bundle. Now that's Australian dollars. I can turn that into US dollars for you to see. United States dollars. And now it should come in US dollars, but you can order here the Super Bundle. That's the link I've given you. then you can order only the accessory bag without the ozone oil, but the accessory bag, same as we have with the Ozone Super Bundle, all the tips and catheters. If you have an ozone device already, you want to get the ozone starter kit. You can add the ozone oil. Now, let me just say very short about the ozone oil. This is high concentrate ozone oil, which is very specific for vaginal treatments, for wound healing. It's so intensely strong that I wouldn't buy it just to lubricate my catheter. Buy a cheap ozone oil for that, it really doesn't matter. So just for lubrication of your catheter, it's not relevant. But if you have open wounds, if you have a wound that needs healing, if you had mastectomy and you have a wound scar tissue that wouldn't resolve, then get that. This is so highly concentrated. This is what they use in several clinics in Germany, and it's the strongest you can get. So you can order that separately and as a bundle if you already have an ozone generator. Then the flow regulator is part of your package. You don't need that separately, but in case you want that separately, you can order it here. We have the American, then we have the European and English and Australia and New Zealand, and we have the medical. This is the Destruct unit now with blue caps. Then you can order 3 insufflation bags. They last you for eternity. You don't need many of those. Catheters, I would replace now and then, especially if you have sticky stool. You know, they are a bit difficult to clean out. You can flush them out. You can use your syringe to blow them out and really clean them. But I would get replacement, especially if you use it daily. I use mine about a week, and then the next one, I move on to the next one. And you can order 5 ozone treatment bags. Very important if you use for fungus, for open wounds, if you use for infected wounds, for pressure ulcers, for diabetic gangrene. It's quite nice to have a fresh bag now and then. So every second or third treatment, and that's why it's a 5-pack, and you can order that for $72. It's really, see, it looks like a normal plastic bag, but don't use them. Don't get your shopping mall bag and use that. It will dissolve and it will give you burnings because it destroys plastic. So these are very special ozone resistant plastic bags, and that's why they are more expensive. Same with the insufflation bags. All right, now that clarified as well. I have 4 more questions and we still have everybody on board. I really appreciate your patience with me going through because this has been very long today. Anonymous viewer asks, how do I purchase your other products? You've seen it. It's in trulyheal.com, product -category /ozone, or you just go through the website and navigate to the ozone category on the page where you then have all the ozone equipment. And this is where you then also see the whole PMF equipment. In case you're excited about using PMF treatments, it is a wonderful and powerful treatment, and you see all the different devices, attachments there. And if you go into energy medicine, because I spoke about hypothermia, it's actually our second best-selling device, hypothermia, and there is plenty of videos. It's the hypothermia dome. We had that specially built for us by Clearlight. It has a stronger heating pad and very, very powerful elements, and it's on special at the moment. It comes with all sorts of additional attachments. And I've recorded here a webinar, a live webinar, where I demonstrate and show exactly how you use it and how it works. And it has like pretty much everything that you need to know underneath, all the research studies as well. So don't hesitate to look it up. This is another very, very powerful treatment, but we'll have other webinars about hypothermia at a later stage. Okay, now you have me back on screen, and let's just go through very short. Any values for autism? Yes, they treat autism and autistic children because all you need to do with autistic children is heal the gut. Number 1, heal the gut. It's a very important element. Sensitivities, food sensitivities, nutrients, detoxify. It's a very, very powerful treatment. Now, autism is very difficult to treat, and I would always involve a practitioner. But like Dr. Emilia said, they treat so many children for celiac disease, autism, on the spectrum, how do you call it? I can't recall the name right now, but it's always healing the gut first. And once you heal the gut, you oxygenate the system and you get your immune system working, then all other systems follow up. So very, very powerful in dealing with that. And there is clinics that use ozone in Germany for autism as well. So, but I haven't focused on that disease in specific. I'm at the moment working on ALS, and that's again very difficult, but ozone plays a vital role in that. Thank you, Marcus, for doing great work. Thank you, Alexandra. Very nice to hear that. Maybe those 4 deaths are due to enzyme deficiency. Look, there's many reasons. I was recently approached by a lady in very, very late stage, had 25 chemotherapy rounds, had all treatments, was on medication, on oral medication, oral chemotherapy, was completely, how do you call it, lost all weight, very thin, just about 30 kilos left, 35 kilos. And then she went to an alternative doctor and had ozone therapy and had vitamin C infusions, and then she passed away. And the family and the whole lot blamed the alternative therapies for the outcome. So when we see cases like that, we always need to be very, very conscious about where people come from and what their blame factors are or what can happen. So never ever take that as a big factor. I think 0.507 is a huge security factor, and I don't hope, if you are at such a very late stage, that you do things irresponsibly. Follow through very systematically, do it gentle, do it in low doses, and you won't have a problem. And thank you for asking, and thank you for reminding me to mention that. Do I do consultation? No, I don't. I can't anymore. I'm flooded. The problem is when you take on a consultation, you have a client base and they come back and they come back and they come back, and because they're doing well, they keep on occupying you, and it's very tough to move through. And because I'm not treating, I'm only coaching. We coach coaches, we coach practitioners. We have a whole academy. If you go to our website and you look at the academy, we're taking at the moment no new coaches because we're flooded. We have too many, and we have personal teacher for each coach. Every single coach has a practitioner that works and answers and corrects assignments and works through with them through that whole program so that we know they know everything. So rather work with one of our coaches. They're listed on the website, and I know I haven't updated, I haven't put them all there, but it's a very, very powerful place to start with. And there's also practitioners who then can apply some of the tests, can apply some of the treatments with you and go through, or work through the program yourself. See, this is probably half year if you go concentrated through. It's a 1-year program if you take your time. You can take 2 years, but you've probably forgotten what you learned in the beginning. Really pull it through, and then you learn how to help your family, how to help your friends, how to coach other people through that process. And you learn everything about ozone. You learn about hypothermia, about PMF, about the treatments, about the test, about the psychology, about finding the purpose of life, finding the emotional blockages, how to resolve them. I know, because I've signed up for every other coaching program there is on the planet. I know there is not one that comes even close to what we offer. So go onto the website, sign up, and just send us an email that you're interested to join. We're opening up probably by the end of January, beginning of February for new students. And I will announce that to our list. But I can tell you there is no higher value that you can learn as going through this program. And I hope some of our coaches can agree with that and write back to us that you learn value that is not only for yourself, but for your children in lifetimes to come, a great nugget of gold. Okay.